Kumasi no mama ya mamu nyina adwo. Ensema ebe so mo anwumre yi de di mu akotene bi ni.
Mampeni na nado danko akufado enu ama muna kasa. Amu otwa Ghana tebia hu mfonyini de akira ye na mampeni se. Wo hwe se de Ghana tie no anyamye nim ni. Emu ye na aba ye beto no afi no. Emu beda o frenchim no libilibi no labalaba.
Show the people of Ghana that I'll do everything in my part to help ensure the conduct of transparent, free, and fair elections on 7th December.
Mampeni ka wo mesia ho asem enu akire yi enu asen se beja hoden energy sector wono a awonhyeso ne nsese ye ne ntoto ye panti obetumi aka se ejina brane.
We manage the energy sector with discipline and expertise to avoid a repetition of the hardships inflicted on Ghanaians some years ago.
Na mampeni kasa wie yen se eja ye twa be na se to fam wa na yi nsa. Adwenterapi no a na aba se de wo mo a wo mo hwe ye tie ye ehu no. Na jabusom da se bedwani kwabena menta akando ono abukemi. Wasinya myenim ne mampeni na nado danko akufu ado ne. Ensem wonu amane be kan ye no. When no cre
Medica Penica no Corene, the Bruni Becca say he was very truthful. Said the Tia Pepe no Kai. Now,
I'm not saying honorable Katie Hammond. A good name for the new master of Francis Obama, yes, sir. Baby, I know it. Mampelina and other Danko Kufa didn't abang. What my dear pass Abasobo.
I come and yeah, baby, I knew 1 point to a here, I know baby, as
Frank Kofi say Baganoa or free Canada buy yes or Bedina home in Anso or Bessia no Kofi come wono. Safina Mohammed Adizatu. Our dear Brente won't do abono. And your body ding our court to register manager so. Present my lord. Emo could not tell what dakem. Ya de said the assembly in the coye every when you marry.
Na you makobi ada Roma and I ote yanka and you marry. Oson's chemist abusia was he amfan to him say Oson's gala capsules no unim say one more and the bag abusia any secretary de ya mame san hyasie any say enyumaku adidi so ya da Roma na mote yenka enwumrei Oson's chemist say amfan to him say unim say Oson's gala capsules one more and the bag ebesi ne obi antimi nya bi mfram Oson's gala capsules eye krogen na aboa soso MTN Ghana has a hin na apese wokọ se mununkum hata ho de na MTN wo ho high sense Ghana se bibi a woto no esanse ye gie hu dinti ye ma warranty 5 years ese abra na beje foforo imbus herbal mixture e boost immune system no why no e na mani pedua nya hoden eye adwuma Amen Scientific Herbal and Alternative Medical Hospital Allahu Shafi yarwa edwane onamu Dolphin Roofing Sheets and roofing systems Dolphin Roofing Systems one more and a self lock and step ties and in your abedjaso. Ebusi Yama Novus Industries and Trading Limited Akwabe. Novus Yama Kwaba Novus Industries and Trading Limited. Anything? Also, Doctor for Kraka say, "This year, yendi fruit no bebre, yanumusio, yanumusio. Now, when a Novus atna say, adwene ho hu se ampa, yenu abanoa wagana say ni yebetimi ade ayanom ne ama amanfo ani age ho na ni nyina nso eye Novus original flavor eba eye flavor kan ye wo melon banana watermelon ne kwadu na afi ye wo de free abrobe ene mango mu enti cheche mu akere mo ebra ekọ nanim nanso mumai minyina Ghana fo nyina na mo na Novus Industries and Trading Limited me mama kwaba ye mama ba transin so sa nyumaku ya da Roma na ote yenka ene anwumre akenkan fo a wote yenkan e wa akenkan mu ye me na ya kese na
Oyini nana Kwame Amo. Na ensem nini. Mampeni na nado danko akufu ado na no pay wakomra se badwafie. Na wakoya amamra ni amane a eda ho se ye sha afina se a e wo se mampeni otiso no wakona wakotwa omane mfonyini. E de kire omamu no ene adasa emba timamufo hu Ghana ne ginabia. Mampeni kwa no pay ya wakoya na sede na fata. Ene Ghana e free Ghana etifi ekwa na afo epie ya toye efri Ghana trisi kopem ne nase Ghana ha ni hem ni de dem bebia mampeni kan wasem na ye na mra waka umesian wasem no obama ne se amambo zi se ya wom de ba ye fa umesian ho baako ye free senior high school no amankenye ababe boa papa ema enkwada wama ben nyame adom wo mo adwene pa nyame amo mu tire wama ben ya hye nanzo so kotola bala emo wo ma wo fata so sanfo no kanya free senior high school aye enkomutifie amanka school abo wo mo nanso asedan ka urade na bonsimani wu free SHS ba ye school nkwada no titru no wo ma ben ya wo foniska no wo mo so akọ classroom akonya wo mesia wo nimde yenu asi 2023 wo mo kotro wasin so hwe no results na ba ya kire se he free SHS ye enkura no twan so hwe ni se yopo.
Speaker, free SHS might be labeled by its distractors as a mere political slogan that must be demonized, but it is in fact a transformative program that has broken myths and liberated minds. It is humbling on one hand and frightening on the other to think of the sheer number of talents the free SHS has unearthed that would otherwise have ended their formal education, the BECE. I know we will get more engineers, doctors, architects, scientists, writers, and poets out of the increased numbers of those attending senior high school. I believe the success of the free SHS policy has answered its critics, and the arguments about it should cease, and we should simply concentrate on finding ways to improve it. I'm particularly glad that the fears about lowering of standards have been allayed. Refreshingly, we witnessed through the 2023 batch of free SHS students the best waxy results in over a decade.
Na eno chana mampeni ba mane se umesiya se ye no ene enwekwa wudo bi ato abasakwa mu de seseye bi ba ya friend Ghana Educational Outcome Project enam South Medei so sika ye hia ade awurawura umesiya nkrabata wudo bi mu no aban huru ye mane nsakan ye ama aboama obetuma kase wo mo munya asonfaso no afi atwa mu nko no 17,340.
Ministry of Education partnered with key development allies to launch an innovative financing program called the Ghana Educational Outcome Project, GEOP. The goal of GEOP is to provide educational support to 72,000 out-of-school children, helping them access complementary education and transition into formal school. I'm happy to report that 17,340 out-of-school children have been taken through the program and mainstreamed into formal schools in 2023.
Ebia wana mampeni se ewumesua seseye ene ntotre ba ku bia aban ba yeyi wama nani eku ho pa de ankrofo beka ina atire obugu na so achi ede ba ye eye TVET ena first time no wase sa ni mienu we amankenye
to produce STEM professionals and also meeting 21st century skills. Accordingly, the curriculum has been overhauled to include STEM career pathways. Government has also increased its investment in infrastructure for STEM education at the pre-tertiary level. The construction of 10 STEM schools and 10 STEM centers has commenced across the country, with 7 STEM model schools having been operationalized. Total enrollment at present of 2,400 students reading general science and STEM. Mr. Speaker, in recognizing the critical role of technical and universal and vocational education and training in the country's industrialization agenda, the government continued implementing key reforms in the TVET space.
Na mampeni free umesiamu no ana wodine ni kire bamba ho nsemu and say want me ensi ne people say Ghana baby ayeti nyame anim nie say yakasa bambo yereketi ya yire ya bambo mu yereketi ama sabi obi ntumi medi ewu wose na nyame pangu na bonsam famfra so bi baba bedi ewu nanso so eyina so wode kan say ni say obeya nan say ntem awudifo ne amambofo a wo mu di akokroko mranto ne akakabensam woma mo mo so pa wo ebibrem titru ne ebibrem atoye amamu a obete ase atuate dom nei woma kwaji kro bi aboso ewo ebibrem oman bi so edi akokroko ne mranto ne akakabensam di ewu tutuatuo ese japade akuma de hye wo se wo yesa dia wo mo ne na nam no a eja woma yesa abo a wonum yafo wo mutumi bowura bebia nanso so ni na mu no ma na hu se sa terrorist wo mutumi ko bebia nti ama abanzo so da no so agese ya wa ye bi ni se wokɔ mɛma ma mo ntete bi ni obe before complain asoja fomu a wa ma mu atra doncho ama no dansan yi a bambo nyumeku awodo a wo ma ga na mu no wa hye wo mu kubu ama bambo ho akade a wo mu hia nyina wo de ama wo mo ane nsese ye ne ntotre a wo se ye edege ban bo ma no ho ban edi free etuate fonse mu no aban yaye.
I'm glad to be able to report that our nation is safe, secure, and under the control of the government and people.
Na yana mampeni wakasa dia fa boko entokwache ama no homne so ayese bola suja esi bufra no wase boko nyamye ni mu nie ha dwen papa nanzo so wo ya afia atwam no abanya ntena ne to so ene nsese ye no ntotia e dia asomdwe ba de wa ye bi papa ene se aban this special boko tax force ba ye se wo momwa na kom ye adwebro asomdwe peace emrao.
Spending money and energy that would have been better spent on developing needs of Boko, providing security to keep brothers and sisters from killing each other. What should concern all of us, and not just the people of Boko, is that in its current state, Boko is an alluring magnet to mischief makers and extremists operating a few kilometers away from the border. In a bid to find a lasting solution to the conflict, government has in the past year undertaken a number of measures, including the establishment of a special Boko task force and the intensification of engagements with the factions for the resolution of the chieftaincy dispute.
Man pelina na do da kwaku fuado enne e wo mrase bedwam
na wanfa so wa eba no afi aba ye beto no ene kwan a ye befa so ato no ene hyehya o manu di gu akwamu a mampani kan sei
part will do what is expected of it to make sure that the reputation of Ghana is not damaged and the free will of the people is manifested at the end of the electoral process. And I want to reassure the people of Ghana that I'll do everything in my part to help ensure the conduct of transparent, free, and fair elections on 7th December. I have confidence in the security services to ensure that those who might want to cause havoc or any kind of mischief to disrupt the electoral process will have no room to operate.
Na eba atemu adwuma no ne modern mo e wo no mampani akufuado na breso a mampani kan sei
262 staff were recruited to address some of the human resource gaps created because of the newly established courts throughout the country. In January 2024, 3 additional justices have been appointed to the Supreme Court to replace 3 justices who have retired from the court. We've made unprecedented progress in the provision of court buildings and residences for judges around the country. In 2020, government set out to construct 120 courthouses with residential facilities nationwide. As of 31st January 2024, 67 courthouses have been successfully inaugurated and are in use at various sites around the country.
Yewra mampani na Attorney General oya oswafo a ohwe atentrene na wasan ye lawyer pani no ono so na dwuma.
The Attorney General has continued in a very effective manner the tradition under this administration of contesting every single litigation against the state, and has avoided the numerous judgment debts that used to be given against the state. The Office of the Attorney General, as a result, has saved the country over 10 trillion Ghana cedis. All the evidence is there. I shall be performing a pleasant duty in a few weeks' time when I commission the Law House, the 12-story office building which will house the offices of the Attorney General and the Ministry.
Na yewra mampani wada rumo se Ghana cedi no na ho odin etisen.
The CD has been largely stable since February 2023, with a cumulative depreciation of 9% between February and December 2023. Gross international reserves reflected a significant build-up of over 5.9 billion United States dollars, enough to cover 2.7 months of import of goods and services. The current account turned positive at 1.4% of GDP at the end of September 2023, from negative 2.1% at the end of December 2022. Generally, the macroeconomic indicators are once again all pointing in the right direction.
Na era mampani wabedi ade mfie nsuni kakra no anya mfie nwotwe obae emabunu adwuma na woni a eni adwuma ye ogana hazo ho asem o kan sen.
The main cornerstone of our move towards the industrial transformation of Ghana is the one district, one factory policy, this government's iconic flagship initiative. It demonstrates how government can stimulate and incentivize the private sector to expand and diversify manufacturing across the country by harnessing locally available raw material. This has led to the development of 321 IDF 1D1F projects consisting of 211 medium to large-scale factories and the conscious enabling of 110 in existing companies to inject significant capital investments into the expansion of production facilities and diversification of products. These business promoters have so far invested in 142 districts across the country and achieving 54% district coverage. Within this period, some 170,000 jobs have been created.
We ayen nsemo a efri ene omampani omani gina bia won nsemo a wode to yanim no emu ba ye no ebi.
Na anso amampani na nadodan Akufo-Addo etokoso kasai. Na ye na mra wo bowura jahoden asɛ ye energy sector no eno wo kyerɛ mu kakra sɛ o he jahoden anyame nim nie abane ba ye ne na ye wosum mu na wo betu sum no sɛ dia na anu asafo wurade betu sum asase so no ka sɛ ɛhan mra ɛba ɛhan mra ye no sana aban ye na aban amfo na no keke ne ka sɛ ɛhan mra wo pɛ jahoden wonim difo ne abenfo ama mo ne ntotoye ne nsesɛ ye mapa ɛba ya Wamun se ya ne ntotoye no efa kwan mu pa enam sa ya so ma emfinsia sonie a wo bedi o ma no so no wo ya afon pre kasu kekegbo dumso ya no naton kwanta apaye.
Between 2012 and early 2017, there was nothing more demoralizing than the phenomenon we called doomsday. It was symptomatic of a dysfunctional system, and it caused widespread depression amongst businesses and households. After that experience, my government was determined that doomsday would not be inflicted upon Ghana and Ghanaians. After that experience, my government was determined that doomsday would not be inflicted upon Ghana and Ghanaians under an MPP government. And I'm glad to be able to say, so far, so good. We've managed to keep the lights on these last 7 years, even in the midst of a financial crisis. We manage the energy sector with discipline and expertise to avoid a repetition of the hardships inflicted on Ghanaians some years ago.
Na yeina mampani bo amane bie no se yati se abane de se foforo bi ba se ya de sika kokko ekwoje fango gold for oil was say nu sei botaye nti abantu sa na mo no boduru ho.
Mr. Speaker, we have all heard about the Gold for Oil program. It's been explained, debated, and talked about. At this moment, all I want to say about it is that the Gold for Oil program has worked well and reduced significantly forex pressures on bulk energy storage, transportation, and bulk import, distribution and export companies, and enabled them to negotiate more competitive premiums with suppliers. Premiums dropped from $180 to $200 per metric ton to $70 per metric ton or less. This also resulted in reduced and stabilized prices at the pumps of between 12 to 13 cedis per liter for the whole of 2023.
Na yena mampeni mra wotisi keteke chuku chaka like a train yo waka wa asam no wose aban akọ hunu wo mo mudi akotene pa wo keteke adwuma nim amasa me ka sei aban ye keteke kwan abafudie ni bi Africa port no be no kept straight edi akwa kosi impaka dan na wochire mu sa kakrakra na omo wi atro mu se free ho.
The new standard gauge railway line from the port of Tema to Mapakadai in the Asurdaman district of the eastern region, covering a distance of some 100 kilometers, is at the final stage of completion. By the middle of the year, the line will be commissioned for operations to commence with brand new standard gauge diesel multiple unit trains, the first of their kind to be used in our country. It is worth mentioning that a rail bridge is being built across the Volta as part of this railway line.
Penina na do dan kwa kufu ado bieu. O kire se aban ye nani asi oman ya ye wo mu imrono ni nkro ene atena ya wudo bi akwan ye deda ho a enye no so e ma aban eye.
It is quite likely that the most talked about subject in our country is roads and highways. When I appeared in the House last year, as I said earlier, I took the extraordinary step of coming with a fat book that detailed all the works that the government had done and was doing on roads since coming into office in 2017. I believe it was generally agreed that it was impressive, but it was not enough to satisfy everyone. Well, the work continues, even though some of the major road works have been temporarily interrupted as a result of the debt negotiation. As I said earlier, all the details will be available on the performance tracker. Other modes of movement around the country are being built and upgraded to open up the country and make travel easier.
Penina na do dan kwa ekufo ado na no krakra mu no ba mane ese aban ni ko eno no wantin na kra se ye kwaye na afa ya mu awo mu ene ye nsase obeba ho ban se de se na efata
na ensan fufuro mu nso so eba abefo ekwan ye fa so edi djuma na mafo se digitalization no so a say na mampani ekafa ho.
We have embarked on one of the most far-reaching digitalization exercises in Africa. Up from the figure of 900,000 which we inherited when we came into office in 2017, we have thus far enrolled 17.6 million on the Ghana card and therefore provided unique biometric identity to the majority of Ghanaians. We've also implemented a digital property address system with unique addresses for all properties in Ghana. Furthermore, through the implementation of mobile money interoperability, we've also provided access to financial services for adult Ghanaians through mobile money accounts that are interoperable with bank accounts.
Na wanfa so ho a ebisa mampani so efa IMF no ho na no so na yere mampani eka yeni.
Mr. Speaker, it is important to underline that the recent change in the leadership of the Finance Ministry will not affect government's determined commitment to implementing the terms agreed with the IMF to ensure that we restore the economy to healthy growth as soon as possible. Indeed, the macro economy was much stronger at the end of 2023 than in 2022.
Afe mampani wa ban de Ghana foka edu se utuesika no usu wunya enti obia sanfa ne nsameshe krata asenka se akire no wabeje ne sika sa domestic debt exchange program no yewura eduru hen.
A year ago, I also stated the decision to undertake a comprehensive debt restructuring of our domestic and external debt to ensure we remain resolute in our objective to restore macroeconomic stability and sustainable growth. The decision was not an easy one, considering the complex and diverse debt landscape. We had to consider safeguarding the financial sector, preserving social and economic conditions, and protecting our domestic debt market. A year on, I'm happy to inform you, Mr. Speaker, that we have made significant progress. We requested an unprecedented number of bondholders to participate in a voluntary exchange, and we were able to exchange successfully some 203 billion cedis worth of bonds. Not only was the exchange successful, but it helped us to secure within 5 months, the shortest possible time in recent debt restructuring history, a staff-level agreement to an executive board agreement with the IMF.
Na mampeni nano ena yete se waban say teaching hospitals and district ne regional hospitals ni nyina no eno so say digital na duru ho say obi yemfa ne say wakwaya asabia ewo G na china ewu hia say esese oba kolebu ebe hunu doctor eni say ode ne nkrata efri G eba kolebu ha ne ho nsem nyina wa fidie so a wo ba ya kolebu doctor no bon number na papa no hunu ho nsem nyina no so.
All teaching regional and district hospitals and patient records can easily be accessed in these hospitals without the need for a folder. Ghana is making giant strides in the area of digitalization, thereby improving transparency, accountability, and efficiency in the public sector.
Na mampani esan eto aso kan say yase la general hospital no so eno wabu agu wono so a wonye na dwen se obesi ti mampani se na nim se wunzi a ene nkamadada no an hoye.
Speaker, I'm happy to announce that an alternative source of funding has also been secured for the reconstruction and completion of La Hospital project as a fully functional modern hospital with the necessary equipment for diagnosis and treatment. The contractor has been paid an advance mobilization of 15%, representing some $7.5 million United States dollars, and work has begun. The project commenced effectively in January this year and will be completed in 28 months.
Wenum eye omampani State of the Nation addresser wade emaye nenu emu nsem no ebi.
Na mampeni kasa wie ye ne sede daada ye ne da wo wie ya ye tutu nsam ne sra ne abasa ema wo ma wo mutie bie hwe bie titu ne mrase badwafo kire wo madwene e wo ho no. Deputy Minister for Youth and Sports our nukro ya ye Esnafo North mrase badwani Honorable Evans Opoku Bobie any peace news akasai na wakasa ye kire mu se wo ye di free bra mampeni sha se kopim bra wo wie ye etie ya ensema mampeni kan ye no wa maba akokran fo na so echi wotie ni na gu na sum se sram na do betima kan se sade ya sin se onim sremu ahwezongu na wonim dokono a abia ye de to ahye no se woni Ghana ha na so pese wo hu te bia Ghana wo mpa tie dia mampeni kan ne wo mrase badwafie no utie a eye pepepe da so no krotrodo ankotokran bia mata ho anenne mampeni kan ya de fat bia Ghana wo mu no titru ne ewumasia afia bato eni agriculture wose ya hotoso abotoye mu eni ni daso
adwetu Ghana nyina ne de me hu ya ne se ne de ka panyini ka no kore ne e kire ye de broni be ka say he was very truthful said ye tie pepepe no ka ye de me hu ya no because o man panyini ka o man ye ho bambo ho asem o kire de to adi pefe se we aman ya atwa ye ho ahia ebinom akọ ahoyehia bebere entokasam ho ne abantugo ne ade ho nanso wabɔ ne ho modene ye ama sese Ghana ye wa asomdwe mu a basabasa sem ne ade bia anya de eni ho anu nti na ye me de pa sanse ye say sebi uni asomdwe a uye bibia enye yi
na Honorable Evans Opoku Bobia no si ye no ana adwabosom na se betwani Honorable Kwabena Menta Akan se Honorable Evans Opoku Bobie la hey sa woni nukra bonza honza wosi tibia Ghana wo mu pa hu mfonyi na mampeni betwa ye no nukra men na mampeni bekan oso oboa
We there. One will say your bow penya, look at the and the state of the nation, and so we felt so now present about communicating here check Ghana for. I want to try I'm not for your demand here. But I said the CBE I don't realize it. President, actually Ghana for you and the upset me. I catch as a city nice stable. I was shocked. Stable, and I mean the word stable I say. Because you see, I pay $1, who here 13 Ghana cedis. I said, when you're $1, you can check, cross check. And yeah, they are no free throughout the house here, but with my cousin. It's Antonio, Nicolas Wucha. Until the fee say, never sank or kind of picture.
Now you're telling Kenya, you're not walk up an entire candle. Jabosum Rasebajani, William Gent, any Emmanuel Acoli, and a cabo Mudiaman we buy.
Now, one more assigning Swafa or shall get the name for the Jumaso. Honorable Katie Hammond so to drink on was it bo a poor day, baby. I knew you. Yeah, Madame Tigana, I'm saying Ghana heading, Ghana heading. Make catch them. If you are say baby, I heading. Now Ghana, you cry, I head in crano. I been up on home more than I'm a near madam. Is a say, dear. And near my sequemua, Yanessa. Nemum Sauti will be the another to Ghana, dear, to who's here and Abums a poor day, baby. I knew it.
I come up, yeah, baby, I knew you. One quote to a fear, I know baby Asa, who's who fear, when and Tessa will get into your mining in Ano, won't make us a bit there, but my catcher will play. Sunny, Tiziano, Osha COVID, Osha Ukraine. Ya Canada, the end is one woman, Tiasia, Indians, hey, the great, hey, I COVID on Tiasia. So, I want to the effect, yeah, Sadu, a Hofaba, yes, yeah, my own Yagma was a governor, I was all the job, and so I say, I economy. Nim saya said you say aye die no enipa de nyame na boy or do na de kwa yetimi nya ho hwe. That is what happened. Yeah, this carry na bo oban hu ban e ma wo tinkom meme tinkom ye nyina tinkom ani te busuafo ro mamudi wo mo achi.
Honorable Katie Hammond ne de no no na enu achi e na edom kuma no ba no dani onmonyamfo edom kuma no ba no dani abedi akire mesre. Deputy Minority Leader Onmonyamfo Emmanuel Ama Kofibua enso kan say mampani ba na de wo de dumso abeje nchia dumso no wo ba na ndisi atu ase na wo ba abeje ho nchia ne.
We are taking our time to address the issue of Dumso by number one, if you see in big generation, by making sure we bring in gas, by addressing the financial solution, by going through the upstream sector and making sure we bring gas projects. Then government came, instead of thanking John Mahama in the end, they came and said, oh, the PPA were too expensive. We did take or pay. Today he mentioned AXA. AXA is take or pay. Today, guess what? And Mary, they said it's so bad that when they come, they will cancel it. Guess what? Ghana has paid off Mary. And Mary is so good. The president tells us today in State of the Nation that he's moving Mary to Amumaso. Doesn't that look like it? Amumaso. Vote for our policy. No, Mango. Amumaso. Can you imagine? Mary is now so useful. We are now using it. And the president didn't say one word about the upstream petroleum sector.
Penny okasa onmonyamfo Emmanuel Ama Kofibua edom kuma no ba no dani abedi akiri nanso ho a se de onim semra hye bedwa no ya no omo ye no mampani e be kire oman ni gina bia ho nsem se wi a ya makwan e ma fanu ni nyina e kasa kire won madwen e fa nsem odi tu dwa no ho nanu bi e na ensawam ado agiri emra hye bedwani a osan eye edom kese no trene majority chief whip onmonyamfo Frank ano dompre ka se ono waye MP YMP pa na sa State of the Nation address we want be that hey mampani yade boy yade pa
yes say emre daniel one daniel we are say for name the world is gravitating towards clean energy o share bui power o share kalio the amount wo woni de ye ni nyina kire say ambani yen hihye papa ese ye nyina ye dan ye tanachi owie no ba one district one factory yankrofo e de akoko be sa kira kroma bia nyenfe de on be ka bia no makapofo na me busa mo yekohwe mo abakosem mo track record NDC over 350 state enterprises they want to turn on cronies no monkrofo ye ba e bi wo ye hyimu kina e bi agusu ye san dan ne better more example in some nano foods the first one ye Aztec aba ye retuli ye discussion specialty beer me nkwa me constituency mo 2 any me e bebre ko so mo say o ka say obeye 200 na why 100 na me say hwe say your time you say ye adwinkesie no mu bi na ade ni you nipa na dwi mu pokesia ne say me pesa me ye 200 na me president Kufad we wie no wantimi anye 200 no aye 100 a enhye nkran na wo ba ya de wo mpo begu no na wo so yanka de nkyere wo
wan fanso ho a o say oti wodin no tie mampani no ade ba kwa mampani kan ya ohun se o mampani na adan kwa Kufad chese de ekwaso o man wonim oti ni nyina asepa ya agudie mu nsem se de mampani eka Ghana football baby egu aduro sene atetia pansam ya wasanka so wani da so se Ghana ball besan sorry da bi no a na kire se ni nyina kire se mampani onim ne ekoso
no sanka so no anka se oboboda in shisho mo here to reform and to change things in the national team na odi nyina ye den atuja be dem gidi se penina kasayi pa na nyina Ghana mo mbom pae pa na yare to ebo kwakwa lebi ema ni triunkuko ye no ebo ye bo kwakwa lebi ma ni triuntuturi ye no ebo peteku anka esie nti omode ombeka but Ghana for do na ye mo kasaye no ombeti ase ambehu de ka afi so sa ba bon o ka bon payment no meti se mini akofi amakofi buati opotoka so it's not an achievement na me sure akoja moni bi okwa it's not an achievement se wo kwaji bosia ewo amanone na wantimi antua bosia na ye kasetia we ekasetia na so abana timi aye ne nhihye yie na we tua bond no esen tua mo coupons na ka chem se enye achievement eyedan
ensawam adwagiri mna hyebedwani Frank ano dompre
na mampani kasa yemu no oka basabasa a ekoso ewo bokun ho asem kire mu se de ye na ye nimu no bokun tokwa ne de akwa se bi na ntwi agya nan no o wa bonsa so na ye gase se concrete tiles na so yafo yawo na wodo na konu ase na se wodo sa konu ase a chen lapewa se e be hyew no aye se bola suja e si bufra na ye na mampani kire mu se pani a won se ka ki pieto ene simpoa baako ta woto sa se bum won tena fie massive anfonti mampani ya ne na ban yetu anamon e se fata se ye de asomdwe beba boko wo se emu baako ene se na wotwi ya asase ye ti ye se radio stations baako enan ena ya ma NCA e de padlock ne kase se tie nie akotum se kekraw se mo bi amie nkotena ho enkasa esanse woma ya wo kwotena sa radio stations enan so no ensema ya wo kan nya asomdwe nsem anya abutoye mu nsem kra na mum wo ya prepreja esisoja edigu bokon nsem no mu a erunti ena aban ama NCA akwakotum no na sasa mu amampani kan ye no ena boko central na se badwani honorable Mahama yarga se oh radio stations enan no a NCA atumu no enya nka hwio se mampani ni na ban epasomdwe ewo boko a enye radio stations enan no a watumu no ena be bibi na mampani no a wobon ko edu kakra se national security eba boko be ye nhwehwemu de report command Tanka mampani ye go sro no cheye ena report no man na abo no to edi ye adwuma kanya ne za kwakwa hia so betu radio stations enan mu o se sebi atiemu yes ne kasa bebo yina ade se mampani ti watu radio stations enan no mu a e ma no so wa ehia sesa ye ne ntotoya bambo mu ye betumi de si bokontokona no.
This announcing closure of FM stations is after the damage has been caused. You could have done this in the beginning when so much damage had not yet been caused. But against all counsel, they refused. Now that we've experienced so much catastrophe, so much death has occurred, so much damage has occurred, the economy of the place is totally destroyed. You are taking the measures that you were advised in the beginning that you needed to take to prevent the situation. Really?
And what's the year now? Honorable Mama Yarega Baman, yes, sir. Woman, more abandoned Quans and Emum, woman saw woman free and potemu hono. One more you are from Debia Diabwa, said the Baya Bocons and some Nina Jebro Ebeba. Na ye and another said, they were the two Bamuniku in him.
Where it is now, all of us who are from Boku are working together trying to restore peace in the area. We ask for the support and cooperation of the president and the law enforcement agencies. At this stage, everybody has a role to play. All the sides in the conflict have a role to play. Government has a role to play. And so if government expresses a commitment to do whatever it takes for us to solve the problem, we welcome that. We thank him. And we will also do our part to ensure that we bring peace.
Bako Central Mrasebe Jeni Honorable Muhammad Yarega ena yetene nkano William Gentu ene Emmanuel Akoli ena ne bon komo yi
na yenni saa ensema mampaniri tu dwan ho nkomo kakra enkanka ene nea efa oman ni sikasem eho ni nyina ye titiro mienu Ghana cedi no na ho odene cedi na ho odene da nchen a ebosi aban kokoboye ewo IMF ene eka aban dia wontimi ntua ya wosere manfo se wo mo ema ne bre na ahoma no ntumu dachi bia ye beba so
yo man penina na dodan kwakufu ado nkase yemu na no wakasa for planting for food and jobs ho na ye na man penisa fa di kan yi no emra ya ka anu mes gese ready go pe esa ase no come and see ene aduane dia asa chakana pa ya ebuso sempo anu anwea ewo man mu amietumi dia mebi se kra me yakotugu na ye na man peni bo amane se afia etwemu 2023 August bosume da to se duonu woche ena planting for food and jobs no de di kan ba na wie ya de to so mienu wo me ya mamra ne amane ese fata eda na die esa ase afia na man peni kire mu se eye mfrinsianum ena planting for food and jobs fe to so mienu no ebedi na eden satra ye mapa eba agriculture mu ema ebema agriculture afọ ntuma pefra da ayekra behwe wo se anya we kura no enyuma ebema Ghana fo enya 420,000 mampeni asemi ho ena Edward Kariwe general secretary at the General Agricultural Workers Union gaw yana na twetwe nkomo Edward majwe.
Yeah, good evening, sir. How are you?
Me ho ya now so
I'm also fine.
Planting for food and jobs, they are just mienu and man peribo ho amane ewo ne nkase yemu se ba na ba eba no ba beboa me gidi ye se wutie man peni asem ni bi. Planting for food and jobs phase 2. The man peni kan ya no mo gene say.
Well, let me say good evening to you, and I'm sorry I'm not able to speak the true well, so I will just speak English for you too, for our listeners. The fact is that yes, the phase 1 has come to pass. We've seen the results of phase 1. It has not been good enough, so the phase 2 is a 360 turn away from phase 1, and then. We are yet to see how the phase 2 will be carried on. Since 2023, government support to agriculture has been very, very minimal. And we are beginning the year, we are in February ending. We are preparing to launch into the farming season for the southern sector. And we are yet to know concretely what government is doing with the phase 2 to support farmers.
Now, Mudibo di phase 1 nechi no. Mo expectations any aban na ni so ade hunu any dia waka yes phase 1 e ba be no. Aban mu ni say oduru ho.
Well, the phase 1 had 2 main objectives: to create jobs and also to make food available. As we speak now, it is not just about what the policy says, but it's about the outcomes. Where is the food? You know, when there's food, prices come down. Where is the food? So even the poultry industry collapsed during the planning for food and jobs phase 1. You know, so in actual fact, the phase 1 has not been successful at all. And you know that the phase 1 was also bedeviled with a number of challenges: smuggling of the subsidized fertilizer, low quality fertilizer was also given to farmers, in some instances, as well as the seed. And then people who were not farmers actually had access to the fertilizer rather than farmers. So overall, the phase 1 has not been a successful one. And it is there for us to see, even when the then Minister for Agriculture was saying that food was everywhere, Ghanaians could attest that when you go to the market, the price of food was very high. And let me say that for about 3 years now, food inflation has been more than 50% of national inflation. That tells you that we don't have food in the country, and therefore the price of food has been very high. As we speak, price of food is still high, and it is going to continue to be high until the end of June, when we'll be harvesting new produce into the system.
The Krakra who Quena said, the Dicano, said enough by here in Muse, a bedroom, and Rua. I want to only the Benny young over the Atossum, you say, and only the no, a bedroom, a butter, young titron, 420,000 direct and indirect jobs, Mampenia Baman, yes, say, phase 2, yes, say, a beati we.
Well, if you look at the phase 2, I think that it's better government doesn't talk about the number of jobs that we created with the phase 2. Even where government had control over the phase 1 and giving a prediction about the type of jobs that will be created or the number of jobs that will be created, we never got them. So the phase 2 is mainly private sector driven. And you are talking about aggregators, that is some farmers who will get the inputs and then supply them to smallholder farmers and so on. They will put on in their margin, and by the time the inputs will get to the smallholder farmers, the price will be so high that there will not be any support. So we don't expect meaningful jobs to be created under the phase 2. So the expectations of government that they will create those jobs, I am very doubtful about it, because we are looking at jobs that are also decent. Whether those jobs they are talking about will end up paying social security and also pay income tax is something that is not going to happen. So the government can say it, but given the way we have managed the phase 1, and yet the jobs were not created, and then also the fact that government is going to distance itself from direct intervention in agriculture under the phase 2, government will be overshooting itself by projecting this number of jobs to be created.
Peter from Dazianimri.
I am also grateful, sir.
Edward Karwe, General Secretary, the General Agricultural Workers Union. And then
na yankon fufuro mu National Democratic Congress NDC amanyoko no de krata bi apiedwa won chorofo fivi fiavi kwete ena nensa ehye ase na krata no mu asem ene se wano mo franka kurafo omampani dada His Excellency John Dramani Mahama atro krata de abre wo mo senia NDC mra ya omde bo party no ebra etie no wogina atrode no fine to so aduanan enum article 45 NDC constitution so and otro we o say na some of the beda wo nyina ne se nyame ya adoma na otwe aye besimu yi opeso one mpanifo a e ka se empuna na epunu no ebehia se be ya obetimi atone a wone no ebekosa afi abatuo no mu no edin ede a kire wo mo running mate asem na mekan na party ne se wo so agye ne sempa aye ne se nyame ya adomo a ya wada ebe na awotwe obenim ana march bosom ne de toso enson anopadu baako na sa anopadu baako no Council of Elders ebehia na omadwendwen nsem hia bi ho eno achi National Executive Committee ebesia hia da koro no a ya wada ebe na awotwe awia no mienu na afei wonom adwendwen edin no a mapenda da ede eba no ho bibia wonom hia ya sese omde to akwan mu ansana womo ede sanhia mu ya hyehyɛ so no party ne se wonom ayerada omgidi yese nia obebo mampenda da chi dom no obi a owo suahu wa wedare adwuma num ya ninim de ene ni mudura eye no so ode ba beta campaign na chire ama akọ enkan gidi ye pa se wonum kan nifo mampenda da John Dramani Mahama senia ede na koma so se yebetu akikire Ghana se de ye nyina ye pe no sa ranimate no ode ne beba anado bobo ni chidom ode no eba no ebeba bebo no chidom ama sa ni suade hunu no so abam na wonum nyina de sa adwen kro ne akomakro yi na ekọ afi abatuo no mu wonum gidi ye se ndi samanyuko ni gina pintin na so wahihim no wa ma odrampo a obedi nkunim ewo abatuo emu na onyankopon mwa na NDC entrance afebo sanso so eno man kronkron Ghana entrance afebo Fifi Fiavi Kwete General Secretary ena ne sachase
na enanso so Criminal Division ewo High Court atnase ema temwafo Justice Lydia Osei Mafo atna dwam court abadwafo atnase ena wo mo hye asem di ase na asem ba ko ne court register mu wo mo bie ye bodin ema wo mo hye asese wo mu di eye se tiefo be kai a Abrante Frank Kofi Osei a wo ye Canada boga a wo ba Ghana se wo ba homeje kakra na wo ba homeje no nanke wonnim se ba wo ba no wo be hye ne kwanhye wu na se ne kofri kom wu a anke wa ma esanse ba Franco Fiosei free Canada ba ye no wa man papam obehia ni wo ya wu da ne mojem na ni wo no esiye ewo ashalebotwe nkrambro no baako 2022 ena asemisi ye na asemisi ye no police form wa mo na agbo wo mto koye mu nhwehwemu ema Frank Kofisei Nigiski Anana Lombo Safina Mohammed Adizatu ena police etre no bon kwadu se wosusu se Franco Fisei eya ne mpenaru wo no wonim hu bi ti asem no court asase edi na ene court boss Safina Mohammed Adizatu din moaje so my lord awo begina court atem wadakam no ena kwadu bofo mano moso a wo bo amane se wamde womuzuzu se Abrante Franco Fi Osei ewuyaya wo wu ya twa nananam wonse de no aya Safina Mohammed Adizatu yi woni Abrante foforo bi ana ye kanana ekun no na ekun no kwaduwa fo kire mu se aya sekan ana wudini no ade wo no se so wie ye ana Safina yi ene Abrante no eka Franco Fi Osei to ho mia ne mene ne tachira meyi ba wo ma hunu mabo mia no Abrante Frank ntume home wo manya abada ya ama no mia ne mene sa wani pa ya wo no se kan so amemo je tu no se san se pa papai na ya sa so mia ne mene ene na namu a o sha no kofri kom wo ya sei ana kwadubofo abo wo munkro di akire court menam suntia ehun akohia se Safina Mohammed Adizatu ekopiem ewo court na wodi asem no kwadubofo ka wo munsem nyina wieye ana Justice Lydia Osei Mafo eka se wotie kwadu no na wo besre kwadubofo eni aloyafo wo mutwatwa de age Safina Mohammed Adizatu se wamunko za poncho obepem wo kone chiansa wamunko na wamunko boaboa wo mo ho na nyame adoma match bosome de atosonson obesan so abo na wo maba na assemblée no wo mato aso na wo ba dia court mu yaka no open address no obi a besase na wakasa na case management wo maye no so conference CMC edano a na tese abrewa yupuma kwam no mo de assemblée no etoato aso a na ye na court rise court sorry ya court pon ye no ana Bismarck Sechi oye Frank Kofi Osei ne busieni woni Peace News ya man before waton ka free court Philippa Atanga bonkomo ene waka che ne se o se de akone de ebusia no gidi se atentene ne be ye adwuma
were home the about a process no said the AC corner. I mean GDA power Ghana judiciary service because somebody be a hokla what na wanting made that case there e be drew say be empande Julie Kla na did 3 years 4 years but goes so good and on 27 February 2024 yeah empande Julie na ma judge na try say on the 7th March for CMC. I mean, say a free hawk na fe try na started. Ti abusuan for no dia. Ye hwe de court no ebeka.
Bismarck Sechi, aye Franco Fiosei. Canada boga obesia no kofri komu wo ya e wo Ghana asalubotwe. Akra bro no so no. Enenne asem no kopie court a. Said de koye no Philip Atanga. Etie mu de ba ya wosan ne abrante ne busuani Bismarck Sechi ebo nkoma ya tie
na yenyina we so ehome kasebo no so nya aboafo nkrato na ansana yebekwa aba amasofo de wadwenkyira mo de aba ne bi abetoa yen so no Remy Spices se menkai mo say tio enya da bia na editor na me skill na me ice cream nya ice cream ye bedi ada enya ice cream ye bedi ada me ka no kre na akire suase na esi ye nkwan ye light soup ye nkatekwan ye rere nkwan so we nkwan na mambisa nkwan we oda atini numu na se we woja mu no na so se bia o de maninsi o 2 minutes wo se empirics nyina da ase na ezuo no so etani sa nkwan bone ni de o de kwa awade ase ebeja akwan me ka kire o play Remy Spices e ba ye waye aduane wo Ghana ha eherefa ahemfo amampanifo achiame ehinkwa hwan amanyofo sentrofo hwan agade ene osi Remy enkoda Remy akoni nyina obia wode Remy aye aduane bia so di ho adanse se Remy no ebaya eba ma Ghana for your Remy goat se ne ndin tie no nti woti se me bo Remy no ade to aso no ahu se eno ne yede sa Remy particular one no eye Remy good tie no yede abonje good Remy chicken eno se yede takrabwa right ena Remy jollof eno yede jollof Remy beef no so ka ni twi ndi ka na wo mo nsere eno ye nantwinam wati chi Remy no maduane ye de pa Remy ana emaduane bia ye de na da Roma ene ye adwenkyere no eba ye homeso agya boafo nkrato ye ba
Tune it in, turn it up,
Peace FM,
and rip off the knobs.
After for makwaba. Kaseboyi madwentra. Ensema mwate no enwumre yi. Dia madwen ya fa ho modi aba no ebi na edoni bremu. Ya de eto aswe na comments appeal 2. O say hey. State of the Nation address we there. The child going to go. A fantastic papa. Say cocoa price. Ye betum. Oh, when you go for attach matter then de. Muntu chirenko wiemu na monsren fa monsemburu mafuru so.
O se da ben
Ojo cocoa price will be increased.
Sam kaze no yanka ode. E frɛ koko kratch no ka chere se
onya wedre
e be koko bia ba no career on pension na on the on trot was can de menye here pa
na misko spelele di frikaswa eke baumia hawato aso o say hey State of the Nation address we there fantastic papa mampenina now in fact oh baumia beto aso fantastic Wilberforce the free say we are serving so no say hey State of the Nation address we power what is enkrofo aka say na fantastic and the mu ede and the mu ehwam and that so mu a otumi de nsa sum na no say yellow sisi ayi wo mudi say state of the nation address we ne papa ben ya na ya nkrofo ma Ghana fo asum ko didi afiti mampani kasa wie yi wo mu dwan Ghana fo asum e wo radio stations awodo mu osai wo hwe say dia Ghana asetena ye den no a edian pipi wura opposition say surudu na akua mo aboaten e no say where dia ya bojo state of the nation address papa no wa hotoso say na wo hwe die nimu yi enema e baba begina yie ama hoto ene ahosepe ewura oman mu kama Alfred Edunie aka Kojo Trumpet bubu ahye asa peace news mama kase bona madia wotie mampani kura na brofo no wotie mampani wantete brofo no munti wonta anti ni yie osmam ya tensem no pa se de mampani kan no afede antiase aye djuma papa na Emmanuel Ejei ose Ghana agudie ye dodo hai ose on my way wo he din oti Germany no he din ana so de yanko so ne ni agro ye ndi pilolo wate na man Dublin ose good evening Dublin Amos sola e wonu di fi ba no so Peter from Odiase pa jumasoni adjumaden a ye na entia no de ma sola tunakaba constituency incoming MP na ye no a Christ for the free phone so ba ye or the state of the or we're under the state of this country. Oh, so far so good. And te se ba ku bi dia on pese obebo ne din ne dia de nko be kan crofo do mun se egu muti esu bob na tinu so te se dia be se o mayi one view ba Alfred Edu makan ete ye de besi
yo abusia ya de mo asi nana ya okese ena
ohene nana kwame amo
ma ha ne ho no nsia ka se boy de ebremu yi Oson's chemist e de Oson's garlic capsules e ba be so yasene garlic ene de aito paye ahode na wom se twum da bia wonunum bia wo ahode ne MTN se baby a wo no se mununkum hata wonko ade a ene na MTN eno a ne de kro ti MTN say everywhere you go high sense Ghana everyday prices for everyday people everyday me kwa binsu everyday me kwa binsu everyday me kwa binsu tenafie da ko na nkwara no mesra obi enemre wo da so TVET kopo enemre wo da so ade wonkwa no wo pepe wonkwa no wo pepe wo wi ase enye ne sa high sense for TV no efam da no ho a wa hwe kra wo hu se bibi fam etia bo se na etarda no hu se etia na screen ne nefe jai ebus haba mesha oposi na dro no pacha boost immune system no why eno na be mo ahodene ama bibia ye kama ama wo afi Amen Scientific Herbal Hospital Allahu Shafi ala one yarsafo ala no one yarsafo eti obia wode ne yare ekọ amen ho no nyame adom osan ebafie ewo enigye so na amen de onfa o yare enko ema wo da bi onimnia oye pa nti obesa oyade ama ho ato Duffield Roofing Systems omo ena ede self lock step tiles ena fe standing seam quality trusses ankasa ebe adwaso tio enchansi a yede bodan so a ewo ga na adwaso a enim nyina ye ni sesoni enchansi a yede bodan so ga na ha bia wonim bia ni ho a ne seso edu Duffield for de no a omo de aba no afi na meka samon kame hwen peace FM yema Novus drinks akwaba Novus anything Novus Industries and Trading Limited omo na de Novus range of drinks a yema occasion bia aba yewo Novus coconut milk drink kube ene de aye drink no se ka ukube dia na onim fa kube hu no anso wanu kube nsuo asa kube bia na kasa kra onim se yetimi de drink unu se benya drink afrim so ebi ka wanu aho wo de opa novus no ti we american mema number bi shara friend na gi flavor bia wani gi ho no je carton ba ko pe so unum wie na se utimi resist sa taste no a now so buy na novus american wonum ewo drinks ahodro ya ewo different flavors yawo novus original flavor novus melon do one say watermelon novus banana eno kwadu novus pineapple abrobe ena novus mango eno so mango we make can say chinabo say mode yaboso kan ne hwan nyina salai ewo ho bia kotobi ne fe no ba me ne wa sani ade na si aba foforo obia ni abra ho pe bi ato no nka me frɛ Novus Industries and Trading Limited ewo 055 pamcho there be 0533 we na matwa 0533 733 028 0533 733 028 0533 733 028 Novus Drinks yamamo akwa ba sanwaku ada Roma ena yede kaseboyi ebremo sofo
na de eyin ka boyi a yensa kan yi etwa mo so